Good evening and happy 2026-27 school year. Welcome to the first school year board meeting of the Bonsall Unified School District Board of Trustees. Prior to meeting here in open session, the board met in closed session, and before I give the closed session report, clearly it's been summer and I forgot to do things like have a roll call. So we will start with a roll call.
Eric Ortega here.
Rachel Dombrowski here.
Roger Murchat here.
Michael Gaddis here.
And Larissa Anderson here. And if we could all stand and please do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. That brings us to our closed session topics. In closed session, the board considered the appointment, employment, evaluation of performance, discipline transfer, and dismissal of employees. Discussed our position regarding collective bargaining with the Bonsall Teachers Association and California School Employees Association, Chapter 703, in order to direct the superintendent as chief negotiator in the matter of BTA and CSEA contracts. We had a consideration of a stipulated expulsion per Cal Ed Code 48918. Public employee performance evaluation, superintendent evaluation. The board's evaluation of Superintendent Dr. Heather Golly was satisfactory. The board approved a salary increase of 1% for the 2026-27 school year and amended the terms of the agreement to a 4-year contract effective July 1st, 2026 and continuing until June 30th, 2030. And had conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation, paragraph 1 of subdivision D of Government Code section 54956.9, case number 25CU065801N. And that brings us to our current agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to the minutes and the approval thereof of the regular meeting of June 11th as well as the special meeting of June 25th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our reports, and we will start with our superintendent report. Dr. Heather Golly.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Ms. McInerney. It is absolutely my pleasure to welcome you to the 2026 school year. And I thought I'd start off, of course, with a picture of an adorable child who is here on his first day of school. We welcomed him, I think he's in TK. And just for fun, the TK class will be graduating in 2040. 2040. So if you think about our responsibility and our opportunity and the decisions we make every day and the future that they are affecting, they really, really do reach far into the future. So as Dr. Seuss says, as they all have welcomed onto campus, you're off to great places. Today is your first day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. And they are on their way. And let's see if this works. Yes, good. We are excited about this year ahead and are heading together toward true north. And before I begin, I do want to start with some gratitude like we normally do, an attitude of gratitude for all the work behind the welcome that has happened across the entire district. Our maintenance, custodial, transportation, nutrition services, technology, our office teams, our administrators, and many others work incredibly hard to get us ready. This is a picture of summer crew, and I think you already saw a lot of pictures of the work that they did throughout the entire district. I'm yelling.
As loud as I bet you could hear me anyway. You can probably hear me a lot better now. I thought, wow, it's been summer, and so my educator voice is gone. You probably saw a lot of pictures across the entire district for all of the work that was done. No one accomplishes anything alone, and it really was an exceptional team working together. And I just wanted to highlight every campus cleaned, every schedule that was built, every student that was welcomed, every classroom prepared. And yes, I saw many teachers and staff members here over the summer working on their classes. Every bus inspected, meal planned. None of that happens by accident. It truly is, like I said, a team effort. So a huge thank you to everyone who worked to make sure that our students and families could be welcomed on day one. I also wanted to highlight, I always love highlighting this, we welcomed our new certificated staff. We also had a welcome for our new classified staff on our first day back. This is the new certificated staff orientation where they go actually into the old schoolhouse, and it's really a nice connection to our history, and they get to sit in those desks and think, okay, this is what it'd be like if I was teaching in 1895 versus, as we just saw, what they're going to be doing in 2040. We're excited to have all of them on our team. We kicked off with our Celebrate BUSD and Welcome Back, and this is a really funny picture that I'm not sure if the whole board saw a little video that our team put together, but we had some great staff members who were wonderful sports who came in over the break to put together a little video to welcome back our team, because our goal is that we're working together toward True North. They were amazing actors. I was really impressed, and we are there pretending to be a World Cup team contending for 2030. It was a lot of fun. I'll make sure you have the link because you definitely need to see it. But during the welcome back, it really is a wonderful opportunity to connect everyone together to officially launch the year. We celebrated our people. One of my favorite things is that we get to celebrate years of service. On the left, you see all of our employees who have been with us for 5 years. And on the right, Penny had just left to go off to transportation to take care of something right before we called her up. So her transportation team that was there came up and accepted the certificate on her behalf. 30 years in Bonsall Unified, and so it's always nice to see the years of service and to make sure that we celebrate that. We also love having a welcome back barbecue, and I thank the team that put together the barbecue, those that stood in front of that barbecue. It was a very, very hot day, and the team that served, but it's really wonderful for us to be able to serve everyone and also to have all of our staff together eating in fellowship and excited about the new year. Larissa was able to come, and she shared a speech that I should also make sure that I link and share with the board. It was in a staff update that I shared, but it was a really wonderful speech about fan energy and about our direction for the year, so it was great. Now, everything, of course, is grounded in our framework for the future. You know that our vision, and I repeat it, and once we have a student up here again soon, he's going to repeat it. Our vision is that all students in Bonsall Unified School District engage in rigorous and relevant learning experiences that inspire them to be productive community members and future-ready lifelong learners. That's what we want to see. Our mission is what we do every day to get there. We empower all students to thrive in a positive, safe, and supportive environment through high-quality education focused on the whole learner. That has to drive our work. Our values are at the bottom, and the learner profile up to the right is essentially our portrait of a graduate, what we want to see from all of our students as they are moving through our system and then moving out into the world, okay? As you know, last year our design team spent a significant amount of work developing what we call our True North 2030, which is taking that framework and saying, what are the outcomes that we need to put in place in order for us to reach that vision and that mission? These are the 5 outcomes that were decided upon. In addition, as we talked about at the end of last year, our design team has been working on the roadmap, which is what are the actions we need to take to get there, to those outcomes. The scorecard, how are we measuring that we're doing what we say we're going to do, and the district impact indicators to see what is our return on investment. Is the work that we're doing making a difference, or do we need to iterate? This is a picture of our design team writing group that came over the summer to work on a little bit more of our roadmap and our scorecard, and I'm really grateful for so many that have continued to really go deeper into the work. This is a picture that I shared with staff, and I have these documents that we're building out. This is our roadmap. You can see priority actions that we're outlining for every single outcome. We have this is just a blown up version of it. So you can see, ideally, all of the work that we're doing is tied to the priority actions that we've indicated are our goal, okay? Scorecard example, this tells us what is it that we said we're going to do, what is our measure of success, and what's the data source. And this is just a picture of district key impact indicators. This is what we're measuring all the time, no matter what. And as we measure these, we'll be able to determine whether or not the actions that we are taking are having the impact that we want. So that's something that I shared with the whole staff and something that we're going to keep working on throughout the year. And you'll continue to hear updates and get a little bit more information about those. And this is a graphic that I shared that I think helps put it in perspective how all of the pieces work together, okay? And so what is it that each of these elements are from our framework? What do they indicate? What does it mean? And that is something, as I said, you'll hear more progress throughout the year. So Together Toward True North, it's important that you recognize in our theme, there are 3 words that are still incredibly integral to who we are as a district and that guide almost like an umbrella the work that we are doing, and that is belong, believe, and achieve. If students and staff know that they belong, if they know that others believe in them and they begin to believe in themselves, then that's how they can move towards achievement. So that is still definitely very much part of our identity, okay? And then, of course, I just wanted to share some pictures of the first days of school. Talk about belong, believe, achieve. Our sites did such a fantastic job. You'll hear from several of them tonight, so I'm not going to step on their toes. But our sites did a great job of welcoming students. In the last couple of days, we've had back to school night at Bonsall Elementary and also at Bonsall West. Our back to school night at Sullivan and the high school in Vivian Banks are coming very soon. But what you see there is students who, on their first day, look how excited they are. I was just as excited too. Look how excited they are. Big smiling faces, ready to launch into the year. And I just wanted to show the, if you will, kind of the dichotomy here. We've got our TKer, and then we have our seniors on their last first day. And that was a wonderful effort to take a picture of every single senior on their last first day. And it just shows, again, frames really the importance of the work we do, the purpose behind what we do, what it is that we are, all of our efforts, what they mean, okay? So that's some exciting things. Now, I did also want to share that I talked again with staff. If we are going to focus on the learning experiences that are necessary for us to be able to support our students towards that learner profile, then we must ask ourselves, what are the kinds of learning environments that are going to help bring that True North vision to life for every student? So we know that the facilities work continues this year, and we will be leaning in to our efforts. We know that we've been actively pursuing TK6 alignment, and there will be an update tonight on what we have been doing so far towards that. If we're working towards TK6 alignment, that should beg the question of what does that then mean for our secondary? And this is going to be another very important effort this year. We need to be looking at the ideal future for Sullivan Middle School and Bonsall High School. And that means examining the feedback that we've received, examining conceptual layouts for what is possible, looking at the current context, what we can do, looking at all of our district assets and deciding what it is that we think is absolutely best for our secondary program. So I just want to highlight that alongside all of that work we're doing towards True North, there's a very important effort to look at our facilities district-wide and make sure that we are providing our students and our staff with what they need to get to that vision, okay? So I want to highlight a few other things that you'll hear about tonight during the facilities planning update. You will hear some of the survey responses that we received. We sent out a transportation survey. We've now been able to disaggregate that survey, and in the facilities planning update, you're going to hear where we are with that and also some recommendations from our staff, or at least some things to ponder so that we can get some direction. Now, with all of that going on, of course, it's going to be really, really important that we ensure that our community, our stakeholders, everyone is fully engaged. We are launching some site staff update and listening sessions so that we can gather input. Here are the dates and the times. I've shared them on the big ticket calendar. We're inviting all of the staff, and this is an opportunity for staff to come and hear more about where we are, and then also ask all of their questions so that we can make sure we are addressing them. We're also launching Coffee and Conversations with the Superintendent. This is an opportunity to have conversation about what's happening across the district, what it is that people are observing, what they want to see, the inputs that they have, etc. First one is on Wednesday, September 16th at 8:45 a.m. We have sent something out, I believe, on social media, and we're also going to be sending this in the Bonsall Bridge tomorrow, so it will go out community-wide, and we'll hopefully get some people who are interested in coming. This is the first. We'll probably do at least 4 this year. We will alternate locations so that people in other areas, maybe it's more convenient for them at nighttime. We'll have at least one in the evening, and then we'll have others at other areas in the district so that we can make sure that as many people participate as possible. Couple other things, save the date, super excited. You know that in the past we've always had our first responders appreciation event. This year, the Chamber of Commerce wants to combine that event with a community jogathon. They loved the 5K that we did for the centennial celebration, and they want to have a community jogathon that I think will be really fun, and it's going to be publicized. I think it's already publicized widely, but I would love to see you come out. What we will do is we'll have a community jogathon, and then we're going to follow that with the First Responders Appreciation event, which is where we have an opportunity, and it's the weekend of Patriot Day. We have an opportunity to honor our first responders and those that are our absolute heroes. And so that is Saturday, September 12th at 8 a.m., and it's right over here at Bonsall Elementary School. You'll see that we'll recognize sheriffs and California Highway Patrol, North County Fire. And the night before that, this is fun and this is new, and we hope a lot of people come. We have Patriot Bingo, and it's going to be right here in the community center. This is an opportunity for us to raise money for BUSD students in grades 4 through 12 for our Bonsall Forward initiative. And games begin promptly at 6:30 p.m., 6 p.m. check-in. Please come. It should be a lot of fun. That's Patriot Bingo on Friday, September 11th. Okay, at this point, I'm very, very excited to welcome our new student board representative. We have had a tradition here of stellar representation. And tonight I'm so pleased to ask Aaron Ariano, where is he? To ask Aaron Ariano to come and join me at the podium. And what I think you will see in the upper right-hand corner here is a prime example of the kind of representation that this young man is going to be for us. Yesterday, we had a County Board of Supervisors meeting down in San Diego, and I'm not sure if President Anderson was going to address this at all in her board report, but there's a very significant effort and it's moving forward right now, and it's something that is definitely has the potential to affect our property, our schools, our community. And so several of us felt obligated to go and voice our opinion and give public comment. I asked Aaron if he was interested in giving a student perspective, and he said, share with me all the information about the program, I'll see what my stance is. And then he did that. And then I said, okay, you have a minute. Do you want to go down there and share? And he said, absolutely. He went down there. I had no idea what he was going to say. I highly encourage you. It's online on YouTube. You can look at the video from yesterday. This was just yesterday, wasn't it? That was a long day. We were there a long time because they changed the agenda. I highly suggest that you look. You can fast forward. You can see Larissa and the community sponsor group share. I shared. We had Fallbrook, Valley Center, and Aaron Ariano. And of all of the people who shared, they tell us no clapping, no whistling. But the audience couldn't help it. After he shared, they clapped anyway. So I'm very excited that you are representing us, Aaron. I'm excited for this year. And if you are prepared, I'd like to swear you into with your oath of office. So you're going to repeat after me, okay? You can come up here. I, Aaron Ariano,
I, Aaron Ariano,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservations
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Excellent. He is now sworn into office. And if you want to shake the hands of everybody up there. Mhm.
Welcome.
And now he gets to join you. Okay. At this point, we are ready to move into some recognitions, and we've got some wonderful recognitions tonight. And we're going to start with Sheila Adams, Director of Special Education, and she's going to present a student recognition.
These are the real guys you're going to want to clap for. So tonight I want to spotlight two of our adult transition program students, Abe Monreal and Xavier Edwards. Xavier here. Their growth this past year has been something amazing to watch. Both of them have made real strides in organizational skills, money management, and they took a whole slew of jobs, from custodial work to shredding documents, running the food cart. There's Abe making food, and there's Xavier for us. That's a lot of ground that they had to cover. But what really stood out to us wasn't just the skills they built, it's who they became to their classmates. Abe and Xavier started showing up as leaders, demonstrating job tasks for their peers, and modeling what responsibility and initiative look like in a work setting. On our community outings, including our trips to the Vista Public Library, they showed expectations themselves and then gently reminded their classmates to do the same. That kind of leadership, guys, doesn't happen by accident. It reflects your growth in independence and workplace readiness, and honestly, in your maturity. We are incredibly proud of Abe and Xavier, and we can't wait to see where you guys will go from here. Thank you, guys. Xavier. Okay. And you might remember we recognized the team, that's Kevin Quinn, last board meeting for their incredible work with these folks too.
So we're not recognizing those actual bricks that are painted. We're recognizing a couple people tonight, and I'd like to go ahead and call up Melissa Castro and Brenda Perez. If you please join me at the podium. So we've heard a lot about the summer crew, and I just wanted to provide a brief explanation. So typically the summer crew is folks that are paraprofessionals. They might be office managers, clerical staff, doing a number of things around campus. But over the summer, we do put out the call for folks if they'd be interested to work in the summer crew. And that's where they're doing some custodial, maintenance, grounds type work that could either be deferred projects or new projects that we're working on. And so we're really, really pleased that the folks that come out, it's a little extra opportunity for them, but it really helps our district a great deal. And so when we ask Tina Calabrese if she could select a few people to recognize as we got the year started, she said, I'd really like to recognize Melissa Castro and Brenda Perez for what they've done around Vivian Banks. So this is one project up here that they did, and I'm sure this might have taken quite a bit of time. And then if you could look at the detail of the work, so I'm guessing you're not professional painters, but it really looks like a professional job, and I think that's a real testament to the care that people take when they're working within the summer crew. It helps us out a great deal, and when students come back and staff comes back, they get some stuff that's extra polished and cleaned up, and it was a real blessing that you were both able to help out at Vivian Banks, and we're incredibly appreciative of your work. I'm just going to quickly read what we wrote in the description for both of them because it applies to both of them. They're recognized for the exceptional dedication as a member of the BUSD summer work crew through careful painting, as you see there, deep cleaning, repairs, and preparation. Brenda and Melissa, helped transform Vivian Banks Charter School into a beautiful, safe, and welcoming campus for the new school year. Congratulations and thank you so much.
Okay, now we have one more special recognition. And for this one, I am really excited to recognize an extraordinary community partner, Rain's Therapeutic Horsemanship Program. I'd like to invite Grace Welch, Allison Solander, and Dr. Joanna Sieber, who are here tonight, to come forward. And now I'm going to say some things about you. Okay. So as many of you know, every summer as part of our leadership launch, our district leadership likes to participate in the community, to go out somewhere in the community. Last year we were at Divine Path, and this year I really wanted to go to Rains, and I had never been there before. We participated in a leadership, wellness, and team building experience there. And this team, through really thoughtfully designed activities with the horses, as someone who's never been on a horse, they were very kind and nice. We got to reflect on trust, communication, self-awareness, teamwork, and how we show up as leaders. Every member of our leadership team, these are all the people that were able to go, found the experience to be so meaningful. We had a wonderful debrief the next day, very rich and thoughtful, and it helped us launch our new year. RAINS, as I've come to discover, stands for Riding Emphasizing Individual Needs and Strengths. Is that right? And that name reflects the heart of their work. Through therapeutic, equine-assisted activities, they support the mental, physical, and emotional well-being of children and adults with disabilities. They help participants build strength and confidence and resilience and connection, a genuine sense of belonging. And this work obviously aligns really closely with what we do in BUSD. Every time we've gone to the community, we've seen that there's this wonderful alignment of our values and connection to what it is that our purpose is. We also are very focused on belong, believe, and achieve. I have to add, the entire team, it was incredibly powerful. One thing that made it most powerful for me is that there was a very strong personal connection. I discovered that when I walked up there, I introduced myself. Hi, I'm Heather Golly. And Joanna here said, I know you were my English teacher. And Joanna is now Dr. Joanna Sieber, working with UCSD, researching equine therapy and mental wellness and how that benefits first responders and military. And so we had a wonderful opportunity for some tears and some connection. I was really happy that she remembered me, and I definitely remembered her. It really made the experience so incredibly impactful, because when we debriefed, we talked a lot about the power of relationships and what it means when you have a student like this and when you have that relationship. It was really exceptional. It was a great full circle moment. The team took us on a tour. It was really wonderful. If you've never been there, I highly suggest you go. You need to go. And then we got to go inside the arena. And in the arena, we got to practice a lot of, I'm still doing this, I'm still doing the strategies, but it was really wonderful for our team, and we're super, super grateful. I shared the next morning with the team that I was reflecting a lot that night that everything is connected. There are no coincidences. And it turns out that she didn't know it, but I had shared with the staff the importance of a feel-good file and how important it is that you think along the, throughout the years about the relationships you've had. And I saved a note from her from 24 years ago. And that happened to be a note, not with your name on it, but that happened to be a note that I had shared with the staff 2 years ago in 2024. So when we say everything is connected and there are no coincidences, I truly believe that. This is a powerhouse team doing some amazing things in our community. Now our school psychologists, Kylie Fox and John Norton, are very interested in collaborating and in bringing some of our students who had powerful experiences from the Rawhide Ranch internship. They want to extend that work with horses and with that kind of experience, and so they want to develop some kind of program where our students can go and volunteer. So we are very, very grateful for all you do. We're grateful for that powerful launch to the year for all of us. And I'll read what's on the certificate, and hopefully this is something that you'll find a place over there at Rains. And it says, in recognition of your exemplary partnership with the Bonsall Unified School District and your commitment to strengthening the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of individuals in our community, your meaningful work fosters confidence, resilience, connection, and belonging, and your support of our leadership, wellness, and team building experience made a lasting impact on our district leadership team. With sincere appreciation, we recognize Rains as an exemplary community partner. Now I can cry. We'd love a picture. Yes, yeah, I can add to that one.
Yes. And I'll borrow some of my time. I'm not going to lie, I don't know, but I'm sure you all know how lucky you are to have Dr. Bell. She was not just my English teacher. She was the English teacher for me. She is the teacher for me. Probably in the most challenging year of my mental health experience. And this idea of belong, she was the room where I would just end up at lunch, even when it wasn't the year that I was with her. And I always felt very welcome. And if she had nothing else, she had $1,000. Like, ooh, we're busy. But was that home base for me to feel very loved and supported, and to know that I could always get a really genuine smile, and that meant so much to me. So that being the kind of cornerstone of the district, I'm so happy.
Needless to say, kind of proud. Yes, they're absolutely amazing. Thank you, thank you. I want to thank our district leadership team. There was a lot of work getting ready for the school year. If we could have a quick round of applause for them, please. And with that, I'm incredibly excited to launch the year and to move towards that 2040 over those graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gali. So on the agenda, we have quote-unquote board recess, meeting intermission. This is the time, if there's anybody who doesn't want to stay for the complete meeting, you're more than welcome to leave. But I don't think we're going to just, unless anyone needs a bio break, I think we'll just continue to plow through. Okay. So this brings us to our group reports. Do we have anybody here from any of our parent organizations, PTA, PING, Bonsall Education Foundation, PTO? Okay. And then it brings us to our labor reports. Bonsall Teachers Association, Ms. Ariana.
Good evening, trustees, Gina McInerney. Wonderful to be back. What a great start of the new year. Teachers are very excited. We had 2 back-to-school nights already. Well, 3. Bonsall L was split into 2. And the energy is just right back where it always is. And we're so excited to be here for another amazing year at Bonsall Unified. I also think that you guys have an exceptional picker for trustees, so thank you for doing that. The only thing is that this meeting will conflict with his chess tournament, so it's going to be okay, though. He's a very busy boy. Really honored, and it's going to be awkward sometimes, maybe a little bit, but I don't think so. Okay, so just wanted to say welcome back. Thank you for all the great welcome back pomp and circumstance to bring us back, get us started in the right way. We're excited for the new year, and I wanted to say that I wanted to appreciate not only Aaron but our school board president for sticking up for this community with the very strange initiative that our county board of supervisors have thrust upon rural areas, which is going to be a great detriment to our property values, but more importantly to our schools and our students. And I hope that the community will finally come together and recognize that we might want to have a high school instead of a pot farm built in the community, and also rally that energy towards protecting our students and protecting our community, because it's an injustice what's happening to us. So thank you, President Anderson, for all the time and dedication to, we are the heart of this community, and thank you for living that. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words. And then we have Ms. Kara Starkweather representing CSEA, Chapter 703.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Gali, and Ms. Gina. Apologize for not saying that earlier. You could tell I was a bit upset. But I thank you for taking the time to listen to me earlier. I was hoping to say that we're going to be off to a good start, but I feel like kind of CSCA is already off to a rough start this year. I hope that's not how the future is going to be with us. Staff was happy at the welcome back. They seemed very excited for the new year. I just want to say something to Dr. Gali. She said about a memory book or cards that people have given you over the years. I recently shared something with Miss James. I have a pile this big of stuff. And one of my favorite letters is from Phoebe. We were Birkenstock buddies. We always wore socks together, so I always have that card from her. So it is important when you do get recognition from students, staff, parents, hold on to those, because those memories, and a lot of staff tell me that that day they shared with me they've done the same thing when they've gotten notes from students or staff. So it's very nice. So thank you, and let's hope that we can maybe get a little bit smoother going the rest of the year. Thank you again. Have a great evening.
Thank you. And that brings us to our administrative management reports. Do we have an order of presentation today? Okay, Bonsall West, Principal Camacho.
Thanks for making me cry again. Good evening, board, President Anderson, school board, Superintendent Gawley, Ms. Gina. We welcome back our staff with a little appreciation. Let's see if I can get this going. So we had a little staff luncheon, carne asada and chicken, tacos grilled by yours truly to celebrate the dedication and hard work they bring to our students every single day. Then last Thursday was our first day of school. So, I mean, I have so many pictures, I can only put a few on there, but we welcome students back to our campus with smiling faces and incredible energy. And like you said, it was incredible. I have TKers that have siblings that I know because I've seen them. They were excited. Then there was another 20 that I don't know, and they were excited and just running up to me and giving me hugs. So that's always a good feeling that I guess they know me somehow, right? So they feel comfortable and welcome. So we hit the ground running. We had our PBIS rotation stations where we take the kids, every class goes through every part of campus, learning the expectations on how to walk into the library, how to walk into the office, how to use the playground equipment. So we want to be proactive on that. And even I had a station. I tell them one of the most important is our emergency drills on why we practice it and why it's important to come out quietly so that if we need to change directions, your teachers can be able to hear that. So we were very busy. Back to school night was bam last night. So last night we had another great turnout. Our very own second grade teacher, Mrs. Mattiota, had to drop off her older kids, both of them, at Boise State. So congratulations to her and the family. I had the opportunity to fill in for her, so I didn't get to go around and take pictures, but I did get some pictures from other teachers. But it felt good to be back in the classroom and just reminiscing about going over my expectations. And it's just, like you said, nothing's by coincidence. The best know what to do, and her PowerPoint just flowed off my tongue. I was like, oh, I remember doing this too. So I thank her for that opportunity. This morning, we had our ASB speeches, and we had 10 students get up there and give outstanding speeches. It's one thing to, practice at home, but to get up in front of your student body, these guys were smooth. And for parents to say, oh, she was so nervous this morning, I go, she was? She was amazing. They all did amazing. So I got pictures of each of them with the mic. And like I said, tomorrow will be the big announcement. But what I did the day before is I went to both classes, because all sixth graders run for this. And I said, you know what? If you are running for election, you already won. And what I want you to do is keep that fire. If you do not win that position, stay involved, because you said you wanted to make changes for our campus, and you are the voice that we need to hear. So they were all receptive to that. So we'll see tomorrow. And so as you know, attendance is extremely important for achievement. And so I'm going to start, find my spot here. There's a fantastic start, as you can see. So we welcome back to another incredible school year at Bonsall West. So before we look ahead, I want to look at the accomplishments we had last year. Last year, let's start with something that speaks directly to the culture that we've built at Bonsall West. Our average daily for the year was 96.2. I think that was the second top. I think it was Sullivan that might have been. It was, Vivian Banks. Dang, she beat me. All right. So, but this is outstanding. This is outstanding, and I'm telling you, it's one of the strongest indicators of student success. And this number reflects a collective commitment from our students, our families, our teachers, our support staff, and our entire school community. It tells us something important, that our students really want to be at school. And it was just like that yesterday. It was like that on the first day of school, and it's like that the last day of school. Thank you to everyone who helps make our place, Bonsall West, a place where they feel connected, supported, and excited to come to school every day. Oops, that's not it. All right. So I'm going to go on to what our success were. So intervention, that makes the difference. I wanted to recognize our MTSS TOSA and the entire MTSS team. Their hard work made a tremendous impact on student achievement through intentional intervention, progress monitoring, collaboration, a relentless focus on student needs that help move students out of intervention and back into grade level success. The progress we are seeing is not accidental. It is a result of systems that are working and educators who refuse to give up on a single student. Our students outperform predictions. When we look at our academic results, there is a great deal to celebrate. In ELA, our students consistently outperform their iReady diagnostic placements predictions. Across 3rd through 6th grade, approximately 61% of our students demonstrated proficiency on the CASP ELA assessment, compared with only 46% that was identified at mid or above grade level on our iReady. That is a significant difference. Our students didn't simply meet expectations, they exceeded them. exceeded what the data predicted they could accomplish. Grade 4 demonstrated strong instructional effectiveness, moving students from early on grade level into proficiency by spring. And grade 5 was particularly impressive, with 72% of students meeting or exceeding standards on the CASP ELA, despite only 35 being predicted on iReady. That kind of growth does not happen by accident. It happens because of great teaching, strong relationships, targeted intervention, high expectations, and the belief that every student can grow. Building the foundation early, our primary grades are also giving us tremendous reason for optimism. Kinder, first, and second grade demonstrated substantial growth in reading throughout the year. That foundational work matters. The skills being developed in those early grades are creating a pipeline for future success. And we know the investments we make in our youngest learners today will continue to impact every year after. There was a comment by our kinder team about the amazing job our TK team did last year. The kids, we're in day 3, we were on day 3 on Monday, and that comment came out. Look at what these guys are doing already. So if we start early intervention, every teacher after is going to benefit. So I wanted to mention that. Mathematics, another story of growth. We saw a similar pattern in math. Across grades 3 through 6, approximately 56 of the students demonstrated proficiency on the math, compared with only 32 that were identified to be on or above level in iReady. Again, our students outperformed the diagnostic predictions. Grade 3 had more than twice the percentage of students demonstrating proficiency on CASP, compared with the percentage identified in the iReady. Grade 4 increased math proficiency by 10 percentage points. Also, grade 5 matched that. And grade 6 continued to demonstrate strong performance despite the increased rigor and complexity of the standards. What the data tells us. When we put all this together, our data tells us something incredibly important. Our students are capable of more than a diagnostic score can predict. Our intervention systems work, our instructional practices work, and most importantly, the success that we are celebrating today is not because of a program, a test, or a curriculum alone. It's because of those relationships that we talk about every day our teachers build. It's that extra time they give. It is the interventions they provide in the classroom and in the TOSA, with the TOSA. It is the lessons they carefully plan. It is the encouragement they offer every single day. And it is the belief that they have in every student that walks through our doors. Looking ahead, we begin this school year. Our challenge is not to simply celebrate these accomplishments. Our challenge is to build on them. We will celebrate our wins while remaining honest about where we need to grow. We'll continue to collaborate, refine our practices, strengthen our intervention systems, and maintain the highest expectations that have become a part of who we are at Bonsall West. And most importantly, we'll continue to remember that behind every percentage point, every extra data chart, every assessment score is a child whose life is being impacted by the work that we do every single day. And I can think of a handful of students 4 years ago that they didn't believe that they can do it. And I can talk about one student, I won't say a name, who mentioned to our TOSA, do you think I can go to college? And she said, yes, you keep working hard and you keep growing. Okay, so that's the kind of thing I want us to remember. That is what this work is really about. It's about our kids. It's about helping them discover what they are capable of and giving them the support, opportunities, and belief they need to get there. We are very excited to create our new innovation and design studio with our talented, newly hired Mrs. Kiernan. Thank you to our teachers, our support staff, our families, our students for their dedication, their professionalism, and their unwavering commitment to our school community. I'm incredibly proud of what we've accomplished together last year, but I'm even more excited of what we can do in the future. Here's to another great year at Bonsall West of learning, growth, and cult pride. Dream big, Bonsall West, and ride with pride. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Calabrese?
All right, hello. Good evening, board, Dr. Golly, Miss Gina, and of course, wonderful audience. I'm very pleased to stand up here today to talk about 3 different programs with you, 3 very different programs with you. As you see on this slide here, we have a new redesign of just continuing to brand Vivian Banks Charter School and really highlight what Vivian Banks means to not just the community, but also the students, the families, and of course the staff. You'll recognize some of those traits underneath: belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. That's the circle of courage behavior that we focus on. And really, if you look around the edges, that's supposed to represent a blanket, and just the importance of having academic excellence in that culturally rich environment for our students. And so I feel very, very blessed every single day to be on that campus and work with our amazing staff. So here's our amazing staff. You may have noticed it shrunk a little bit, but these people that are up here on this stage up here are so dedicated and so much love the students at the school, the community, and they're in it to win it every single day. And they're ready to do whatever it takes to make sure that our students succeed. So, summer projects. You saw Brenda and Melissa up here. They did an amazing job. They painted places I didn't even think we needed painting. That one area that was highlighted was only a teeny, 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 tiny snapshot of what they did. They were amazing. They painted every single door. They painted every single railing. Our school looked beautiful, as it always does. We also had created an enrollment video before the end of the year to try to increase enrollment. I'm still learning Instagram, as you can tell. Not quite a digital native, more of a digital immigrant, and so Instagram gives me challenges every single week, but I'm trying. And so we did create a really cute enrollment video that got so many likes over the summer. We were hoping that that would translate into additional students. We did get 3 new students that brand new walked in the door day before, which was exciting, but we did also lose quite a few students due to TK and things like that, and then some siblings that went along with our TKs. Right there on the side, you see a enrollment flyer. That's going to be going to the gathering, which is going to be next week. I'm going to be tabling and, of course, baking brownies and trying to just let people know that we're still open. I think there's been some conversation in the community that is the school open? Is it not open? Do they have asbestos? Do they not have asbestos? And so we just really want to make sure that we're really highlighting that and just trying to encourage families to come. We met with Project Harmony. Project Harmony is a program through SDSU that's going to provide us with so much supports. And then again, I met with every single tribal agency around Paula to set up our whole year. And so I'm very happy to report that we have every one of our events sponsored again this year. We have assemblies. We've got Omega Man coming tomorrow. That's sponsored through the generosity of Paula Fire. We have our back to school barbecue, all the foods being donated by Paula Fire along with the grilling. We have an owl pellet dissection that's going to be coming up as an assembly through Paula Environmental Department, not to mention an air quality environmental project. We're going to have somebody come out and add a drip irrigation system through Paula Environmental. So every single tribal agencies, Doretta ordered us supplies for our students. Deputy Chief Moriarty gave us his credit card to order some supplies. So it's just been amazing, all the different things that happen when you meet with tribal agencies, and it really does go back to relationships and making sure that people kind of see what the school is about. We also got our ACES room set up, and so there's a couple of rooms with that, with the theme being family. Whoops, did I skip one? Nope. There we go. And so these are a couple of first day of school. Our theme is it's going to be a great year, and our students are rocking it. I told somebody the other day that it felt like a spa day going to work. Which that isn't something you normally hear at the beginning of a school year. But our students are really showing and that they have those expectations down. They're showing that they want to work hard. The bottom left-hand corner, that is a gift that I gave to every single staff member at Vivian Banks Charter School, as well as HomeFlex Academy, as well as all the community center people here, just letting them know that it's going to be a great year as well. And we started off with, of course, kickoff breakfast and things like that to really welcome everybody. New staff member, we have a new staff member, Bob Campbell. He is going to be providing ed specialist support for our school. And I'm very happy that he's going to be there a couple of days a week. And then again, our students had that opportunity to welcome back. I think Dominic mentioned that, you know, having kids run up and hug you, there's nothing better, right? Kids running into the school with just their arms outstretched. It's just a great feeling. And then you see one of the families, one of the moms wanted to take a picture with me, which I thought was really sweet. So really just making those connections with all the families. The kids came back with smiles, new clothes, new shoes, and just ready to have an amazing start. First day of school, you know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I kind of joked, you know, friends are made here. This is a family. Our students are so excited. Our little kindergartners have a whole room set up now with actual kindergarten toys. Because our rooms are on the smaller side, it was hard to have all those things in a classroom in addition to having the other grade level. And so our students are getting a chance to do actual play activities during the school day as well. But they're also showing that they're ready to learn. And like Dominic shared, our TKers are so ready for kindergarten this year and ready to rock it. I was able to test some of them today, and it's just amazing. Students hard at work. We've got some writers in our school. We've got kids, again, just showing that they are ready to learn. And data. So I brought some data notes just because it's difficult to have everything memorized. These are just preliminary CASP results from last year. And it's hard when you look at data like this with those trends, because we are such a small school that one student not doing well can really bring down a whole percentage. However, I will say that some of the things that you can see, even with those small changes, that our ELA results are really showing that improvement across every tested grade level in 25-26. Our third grade proficiency in ELA went from 0% in each of the previous 2 years up to 16%. And the percentage at the lowest performance level also increased. We decreased our lowest percentiles from 93% to 33% substantially. So what's happening is our students are moving bands, right, which is what we want to see. I think I shared this last year. You're not going to see green everywhere yet with Vivian Banks, right, but you're going to see kids moving out of those red and orange bands and getting into the green and the blue. Fourth grade improved from 0% proficient or advanced last year to 9% during the testing year. And fifth grade increased from 5% proficient or advanced last year to 12%. That same cohort, so if you look at down below, that kind of gives you a little bit of example of the cohorts. So it's hard to compare fifth grade from the year before to fifth grade currently because it's not the same student, right? So you want to look at those cohorts. And overall, the results are showing that the students are moving out of those lowest performance bands and moving towards proficiency. Definitely a positive sign that our interventions are working. We also share Ms. Bonwell with Bonsall West, and she is incredible. She's able to really get in there and do some solid intervention. We were also able to have me as part of the rotation last year, and having taught first grade and second grade and K1 combo, 1-2 combos for 19 years, I have a little bit of experience with reading instruction, and so that also really helped our students too. But we also have some math celebrations as well. So our strongest math celebration is third grade, where proficiency increased from 0% to 33%. I'm going to say it one more time. Our strongest math celebration is in third grade, where proficiency increased from 0% to 33%. That doesn't typically happen, right? Our students really, really rocked it. Third grade also experienced that significant reduction in the lowest performance level, decreasing from 75% to 50%. And then fourth grade maintained 9% proficiency. Although it's below that 18% from the previous year, it definitely represents that growth for the particular cohort, which moved from 0% proficiency as third graders to 9% as fourth graders. Fifth grade did not reach proficiency, but the percentage of students at the lowest level did decrease significantly from 93% last year to 62% this past year. And more students are now approaching that standard. Again, these results are indicating positive movement, particularly in grades 3 and 4, while reinforcing that importance of continued math intervention, problem-solving practice, and individualized progress monitoring. And then our science trends. The clearest science celebration is definitely the substantial movement out of the lowest performance level. So those are those bands I was talking about. The percentage of the fifth grade students at the lowest level decreased across all 3 years, from 40% in 23-24 to 35% in 24-25, and to just 12% in 25-26. At the same time, that percentage of students who nearly met the standard increased from 45% 3 years ago to 87% this year. Again, no students reached proficiency, but nearly 9 out of the 10 students are now approaching the standard, creating that strong foundation for future growth. And again, with only 8 students tested, each student does represent a substantial percentage of that result. And our next step, of course, is to help our students move from nearly meeting to the science standard to getting that stronger academic vocabulary and hands-on inquiry in order to kind of move those bands over. So again, even though these are preliminary standards and results, we're definitely seeing that meaningful movement. And the EL proficiency especially improved in every tested grade. Third grade math also showed that significant increase, and science students definitely moved substantially. And what you don't see is you don't see our little ones, right? Our little ones really are moving forward. And so I'm very encouraged with how well our students are doing in those lower grade levels too. Project Harmony, I kind of mentioned. This is that grant that is, I believe it's a 4-year grant, and they'll be bringing in 8 counselors and school psychs that are in their programs, and they're going to be focused on Native American students, and they're going to be coming every single Monday. They'll be doing resiliency circles and working with our students, as well as doing some math intervention, which is an area of focus. And there's just a little bit of love that I like to show for my families. I did bake again for all my families, so every Vivian Bakes family and every Home Flex Academy family as well. And then our student, this is not supposed to be student hard at work. We had a little bit of a problem with the slideshow disappearing like at 2:30 this afternoon. So I apologize. This is actually our ACES room. And then great news, we got a Whole Foods grant. So we were one of many, over 500 applications, I believe, or 800 applications. I'm confused because I was also selected to be interviewed for another grant. Anyhow, so this grant, this Whole Foods grant, we're going to be working in partnership with Paula Environmental Department to really expand our garden and have more of a farm-to-table type of approach where our students will be growing actual foods that they're going to be eating. And that was the drip system that's going to be built along with some additional planters. That they're going to be helping us out with some of their grants in partnership with that. So I'm excited for that. And then fundraising efforts are, we just had our first Charter Council meeting last week. And initially we thought it was $23,000, but we actually got our report and it's been $25,000 that we have right now between our 30 for 30, our Charter Council, and our BEF fund. So I'm pretty proud of that, considering we only had 50 students last year. That's a lot of money. And some upcoming events. As you can see, we have a lot of upcoming events. We have our Cali Kebab night next week. That's going to be a dining night out. Back to school barbecue, I already mentioned. Paula gathering that I'm going to be at and tabling. Grandparents' Day, our 9/11 ceremony, California Native American Day, and celebration lunch on the lawn. Another Indian Parent Advisory Committee meeting. And then we have Hispanic Heritage, Picture Day, so many fun things coming up. Every single month there's always a family assembly or a family night, student assembly, as well as all sorts of fun things. We'll have our 2nd annual pickleball tournament up on the 7th. So hopefully I'll see some of you out there helping us. It was a really fun event last year too. And then our turkey trot fundraiser and literacy night. So we got a lot of fun things happening. Hopefully we'll see some of you there. All right, we have a new logo. So this kind of goes along with the theme. There's something new in every single program, which is exciting. So Home Flex Academy is formerly Bonsall Virtual Academy. This is our wonderful logo that was designed, I believe, with Larissa and Dr. Gawley. And it kind of is showing that flexibility that you can have with an independent study program. We still will have Miss Andrea Bruninger helping us out with this program, and there are some changes. We now are responsible just for TK through 8th grade. We'll still have the hybrid option where families can come in for art days and field trips and things like that. So we have a whole calendar of event. We have a new banner that you probably noticed when you walked into that room over there. And we also have a new flyer to try to increase our enrollment there as well. Again, another gift. And then we had our welcome back breakfast and master contract meeting with our families. We have some great kids that have joined us. We've got a professional skateboard student, we've got a professional gymnast, so it's very exciting to see these kids that are so highly motivated. Our skateboarders traveling all over the world actually competing, which is pretty exciting. And then hopefully we'll get our snowboarder back from, that's also competing, but usually just joins in December. A couple more pictures of that year-long calendar of events. And there's some of our adorable children that are very, very highly motivated. Another new logo. So this logo for ATP was actually designed by Gilda Barranco. She is one of our amazing paras for the program. And I think Ms. Gennariano said, "Do you have a logo?" And she said, "No." And she designed a logo. And I thought it was awesome that she designed a logo that incorporated a tree with all the hands. This is a stellar staff that works with our adult transition program. The photos that I'm sure you see in the newsletters, that you can see the love in every single photo, and you can tell that the people that work in the program with students like Abe and Xavier, they love their kids. And they are so sad when they promote, when they are all finished with our school district. Some first week of school photos with our amazing babies and just having a great time. They actually had their first field trip. There's Abe and Xavier hard at work. They're so cute. And here's our first field trip. They went to the Vista Library, which is wonderful to get some socialization with some other students and other ATP programs, and it's just a great opportunity. They also will a lot of times tag on a trip to the dollar store so they can practice shopping. And there's a couple of more things that Gilda in her free time decided to design. So I told her, I said, I'm going to share them at the board meeting and tell everybody you did it. And she's like, really? So she was very excited. And then some upcoming events for HomeFlex and ATP. We've got in-person assessment. We've got some art with Carissa. We also have a Bates Nut Farm field trip coming up, Western Science Museum field trip coming up. And then that brings us into Thanksgiving. And that is it. Thank you so much for letting me share about all 3 programs.
Thank you so much. And that concludes our site reports. Fantastic. That brings us to our board member reports. Now we have a new student board member. Erin, do you have a board report for us today?
I do.
You come prepared. Fantastic. We're looking forward to it.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
All right, I'll try and keep this brief. But I'd first off like to thank the board, district administration, staff, teachers, and community for helping me get into this role as student board member for the 26-27 school year. And again, for those of you who don't know me or aren't too familiar with me, my name is Aaron Ariano, and I'm a senior at Bonsall High School. My purpose and commitment with this report is to bring the voice and perspective for all BUSD students to the community. So I'll begin. I know they're not here, but I think it's really awesome to see Xavier and Abe promote, and I don't know if they'll hear this, but congratulations. I'd like to talk a little bit about the elementaries. So our students came back to elementary, and I've heard that the environment and community has been buzzing, so really awesome there. Bonsall Elementary and Vivian Banks, they're continuing with their creative movement program, which super happy to see. Vivian Banks is also doing the Circle of Courage program, and Bonsall West is doing the Innovation Lab. I think these are all great programs for our students to engage and learn. So really awesome stuff. And again, Bonsall Elementary and Bonsall West had back to school. At the middle school and high school, those back to schools, as well as Vivian Banks, will be next week. And that's going to be another awesome experience. I will, of course, talk a little bit about the high school, and hopefully next week, or not next week, but next board meeting, I can bring a little more for the middle school. So, at the high school, we are kicking off our athletic programs for the year. So, we have flag football co-ed, which is an awesome experience for our students. It's the first time it's happened at Bonsall High School, as well as girls volleyball, who had their first game today, and cross country. So those are all starting up, and that's awesome. We're also doing the Flex program, which is our new addition to our schedule, which is going to help support students through intervention time, and also challenge students who can learn and grow through, I guess, non-academic or extracurricular programs, which is awesome. We also rolled out our Academies program, which, if you don't know, is like the Hogwarts houses, where we inducted our freshman students into our new program and the Legion. Clubs are also starting to kick up after school and during this Flex program during lunch, which is also awesome. For seniors, Senior Sunrise is tomorrow, I believe. No, not tomorrow, next week. And we have our first movie night, which ASB is hosting. Let's see what else. And as for school culture, I would say that I think across all of our campuses, the students are very excited to be back to school. I know I am. And I think it's going to be a great year. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Ortega.
Well, I'm not going to try to keep it brief. Excuse me. Excuse me. I want to welcome everybody back. Oh, man. I want to welcome everybody back to a fabulous school year. Seems like we're starting off really well. Hopefully we can continue on with everything we've been doing in the past. I've always liked about the fact that I think we are in a good place. I think we could always be better, and but keeping everything in a good way, in a positive way. We got a lot of our families that feel comfortable here. I've talked with a lot of the staff. They seem like they're happy and comfortable. I can't say that for everybody. I haven't talked to everybody, but everybody I've talked to, is in a good place. I also wanted to say that I know we got some procedural things that I've been bringing up, and we'll talk more about that later. But I also think that as far as the future planning of our school, I'd like to see us do a little bit more work with Gerd Road, do some more stuff on Gerd Road. There's some ideas that are already put in place before. They just never were realized, and I think we could go off of those ideas and continue on and have something actually being accomplished on Gerd Road. I know that's a whole nother process, but we've talked about the future of our school, the future of our students, and I think that should be one of our main directives is actually making ourselves a high school. It may not be a comprehensive high school, but it would be a separate high school, and I think we could actually be something for our students, especially with more students coming in, and if we're trying to retain our students, this is something we're going to have to look into and do. So I'm going to keep pushing that and looking for ideas for that. So if anybody has any ideas or whatever, shoot them at me, and I'll send them to Larissa, and she'll make it happen. So anyway, I'm glad to be a part of this board. I think we have a great board, and hope everybody is ready to do some work and keep everything going good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dombrowski.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to another school year. I first wanted to say thank you to my mom chat, for now the 7th grade mom chat, because I did need some help with getting my older son to the registration day and other things, and it takes a village. So I just want to shout out the mom chat of Arrowwood. You guys are awesome, and I could not do this without you. So, and thank you. We need each other in these times. I also wanted to thank Mr. Ortega and Dr. Gali. I worked on a monster of a grant this summer in my other job at Cal State San Marcos to establish a public health training center, so fingers crossed we get it. But it would hopefully bring a student intern from the Masters in Public Health program to work on school health issues for this district. And so that was one of the core things that we worked on with the letter with Dr. Gali, and hopefully get one working with the Pala Band of Indians as well. And so that was something that Mr. Ortega very kindly connected me to leadership there. So thank you to the two of you for doing that. So that was my July, was working on that grant. And I did get a little bit of R&R time with my family. We went to Yosemite for the first time. So it was amazing, being that we're from Michigan. And we first got to experience, we will be going back to Yosemite. It's now become our new favorite national park. But I just, being in this my older son is now a middle schooler, I feel like there's a lot of transition happening, and it's like, we're moving to TK to 6. Hopefully we get some building happening on Gerd Road, and, just lots of transitions I am seeing occur across the district, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. And I am looking in every way possible, how do we integrate health and wellness in all of these aspects, and, just talking about a redesign of a kitchen today and just, you know, how are we going to make this experience the best way for students? How are we going to get nutrition ed on that, you know, lunch line and making sure that our, you know, nutrition staff are giving that nutrition education and there's time to do that and they're not crammed in a corner, you know, trying to get their food. So these are the types of things that I'm going to continue to do as the board member for this district, and hopefully we'll be the healthiest district in the county in a couple years. That's a goal of mine. But I just want to say thanks to everybody for getting me through this summer and looking forward to a positive and healthier school year. So thanks.
Mr. Merchat.
Thank Laura and Heather and Aaron, right? He wasn't there, for starting the process for an energy plan so we can get some savings, back in the district. And I also like to thank, you kind of take for granted sometimes all the work and all the people that are involved getting ready for school. You think, as a kid, you just show up and it's just like when I left. But it's amazing, and I want to thank everyone because I know there's unheralded a lot of time and energy. Thank you.
Mr. Gaddis.
Hello. I want to start by, I want to thank Dr. Golly to begin with, and I'll tell you why, because we got a lot of emails on the after-school program. There was an issue with it, and I was concerned by some of these emails, and her response was very prompt and very decisive, and from what I understand, the situation has been rectified, and the process going forward is going to be reevaluated to make sure there's no issues in the future. So I just wanted to give her some shout out, because that's an important thing. After school programs and to see some parents distressed was not a good thing. So I'm glad we were able to rectify it and fix it, and so I just wanted to say thank you for that. The other thing I want to mention is, with the new school year comes the whole college application season begins. And, I don't know, I'm sure we all know that basically that whole process begins like a month ago, right? And one of the big things when you do a college application, as you know, it's a presentation, right? And you have to present yourself in such a way. And one of the things that's really crucial is writing college essays, and they're very, very important depending on where you're going. And so I think that we should, I personally will volunteer to help anybody who needs their college essay read, because I will tell you, during my kids' process, I became pretty good at understanding what these people want and how to write these things. And I have edited and proofread so many of them that now I'm having a little withdrawals because I'm not doing it anymore. So please, if anybody needs any assistance with that, I personally will do it. And I'm sure there's some other people that would like to get in there, because having a lot of set of eyes on it really helps you hone it. And I want to jump into this aspect of it too. A lot of people are scared to apply to private colleges because they think they're so expensive. But I will tell you, especially the schools that have big endowments, they have very, very, very lucrative financial aid packages. In fact, sometimes it's cheaper to go there than it is to in-state schools. And also, if you below certain thresholds, economic thresholds, some of these schools you could go to school for free. I mean, it's amazing what they're willing to do. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't be afraid to apply to schools because you think it's a big ticket item, because you never know until you get in there, because some of they're very, very giving when it comes to that. So I'd like to see some of our students apply to some of these schools and see what they can do. And that includes Native American schools. They have a lot of those, and I know I've mentioned it in the past, but I really think that we should talk to some of these programs and have them talk to especially our Native American students, to show them what they have to offer, because they're very focused on Native American learning and all of that. So I would like to see if we can get involved with that and share information to see what's available. And they're in different states. Some of them are here, some of them are in Nebraska, some of them are in Arizona, but they are a very good opportunity for people. The other thing I wanted to mention was, I want to share a story, okay? So I was talking to a Bonsall West parent, and I was telling them how public education changed my life, right? Mrs. Lindsay in 6th grade took special notice of me, and I come from a family where no one went to college. Nobody on any side of my family, trace it anywhere, nobody went to college. Nobody knew what to do. Nobody really paid attention to it. People in my family just went to school and then got out, and they went and got public service jobs and things like that. But Miss Lindsay took a very special interest in me in 6th grade. She was mentioning how she said, you have a lot of potential, and you seem to be very gifted. And I was like, I am? I didn't know that, But what's funny is, after that, I never wanted to let Miss Lindsay down. Even after I was gone from 6th grade and from middle school, I always remember what she said. So she literally changed the trajectory of my life. So I was sharing this with this Bonsall West parent. And this Bonsall West parent said that she just had a similar experience. Her son had a similar experience over there. That there was a particular teacher there who took a special interest in her son and basically gave him confidence and really changed how he thinks about himself. And it just made me so proud that to see that happening, because I had a special, kind of connection with that. And she also had very kind words for you, by the way. And so I think the thing is, and it goes along with what happened to Dr. Gawley here. So you can see this repetitive thing about the influence that teachers have on students' lives. They're very, very impactful. And so, to see what happened today and for what happened to me and for this particular woman, it just makes me very proud to be in a district that we have so many teachers that are that way. You know what I'm saying? And they make such a big impact on their students' lives. So I just really wanted to say that. Next, I know I'm going long, but I swear I'm almost done. I wanted to say something about your Coffee with Superintendent flyer, Dr. Gawley. I really like the fact you said at the bottom that Spanish interpretation is available, but I think you should write it in Spanish, because I don't think the people who need the interpretation are going to be able to understand and read it very well. So maybe we either do it in both or put it in Spanish, then I think you'll have probably a higher attendance. That's just a suggestion there. So another thing I want to mention is I just had to drive my son back to New York, and we drove all the way across country. We stopped in Memphis and saw Elvis, right? Graceland, very big. If you've never been there, you should go. It's really impactful. But I was mentioning earlier, one thing I noticed was that Elvis had something everywhere. He had the letters TCB written everywhere. It was on the fin of his plane. It was on his jewelry. It was everywhere. And we had a lightning bolt with TCB around it. So I was like, what's TCB? And it means taking care of business. And what it was kind of Elvis's way of keeping focus of what was important, because he had a lot of distractions in his life. He's Elvis, right? So he had a lot of distractions, but TCB kept him grounded, it was his mantra, right? And I think we all need a mantra like TCB for us to keep us on track of what we're supposed to be doing. So, I told that to my son too. That was a lecture for the next 5 hours of driving, TCB this, I think he's tired of hearing it, but I just think it was very impactful to me to see how important that was to somebody at Elvis's level. That it was just a guy who had everything, but he was still keeping himself grounded, and he had to have reminders of it all around. So I think that's very important. So I think with that, I'll end my report today. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Gaddis. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here for our first board meeting of the school year. Dr. Gawley referenced that I had the great privilege, and I'm very grateful that I was able to see the energy of the back-to-school kickoff with staff before we opened the doors to our students. And I shared, you can send the full 10-minute version. I know, speaking of taking care of business, we've got quite the action items to get through, but basically over the summer I had the privilege of having my children share some significant fan energy that I thought was meaningful, the NIPS. the New York Knicks in New York City, where my daughter lives and works in Manhattan, they got to the playoffs. And when that happened, there was just this massive, outpouring of people in the streets, and they were dancing and hugging strangers, and it became a very huge celebration. And my son was in Ireland when County Mayo won the Gaelic football championships for the first time in 75 years, essentially breaking a curse that they had, that supposedly a priest had put on them back in 1951. And they were literally singing in the stadium. 40,000 fans came to the hometown stadium. They played in Dublin, but they made their way back to the West Coast and had 40,000 people singing them back into their hometown, saying "Welcome home." And then the third thing, we were all together in New Jersey for 4th of July celebration in a park called Brookdale Park, and it was World Cup, and the USA was playing that night during this annual bands and fireworks and whatnot. And this dad comes in dragging a huge screen television and plugs it into a generator for the sound system at the park, and in order to be able to watch the game while the fireworks going on. So I was smitten. I mean, he was my hero for the summer, thinking, that requires such a level of commitment to bring this giant thing and engineer a solution so that you could have a celebration within a celebration. And it really got me thinking about fan energy and how fans do more than just show up. They wear the jersey, they celebrate the wins. We have, as board members, we are the kind of the keepers. We're not so much the keepers. We are the vision behind the district. And so one of the things that I shared was that belonging matters. The sense of belonging is what invites people in. Culture gives people reasons to stay, but ultimately it's vision that gives them confidence to invest. And I'd like to see us, continue with the energy that we have in our district and really root for the home team, which is ourselves, and be our biggest fans and help move the needle forward. We've got a lot of changes that are happening in our region. You can see across the street, the park is going in. That is fundamentally changing the face of what Bonsall looks like. I've been here since 2009, and it was one of those things I'm like, we don't have parks, we don't have this, we don't have that. That's happening. You go drive up Lilac, there's 400 pads that are being poured right now. The amount of new, all that grading that happened over the summer, it doesn't even look like the same topography. The Havens on Gopher Canyon, and you've got, the Horse Creek Ranch and other little pockets of development throughout. We have new families coming in, and we have some facilities work. Mr. Ortega brought it up, and we've got to create the vision that'll give our community the confidence to invest in our facilities moving forward. So I'm looking forward to a great school year, and there was some mention just as a point of clarity, the Board of Supervisors yesterday voted to approve the EIR for the socially equitable cannabis program, which basically fast tracks the ability beyond typical CEQA for industrial cannabis cultivation. And given that we have so much A70 ag property here in our district, we are going to be very impacted by that decision, unfortunately, unless something changes. And we have property that is zoned, that we own, that has no structure on it right now. So some things that we need to kind of think about moving forward as to what that means for in the best interest of our community and serving our student population that's, in a growing community where we have some infrastructure deficits. So with that, happy new school year. Glad to be here and looking forward to rocking it. That brings us to our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? There is about
Motion to approve.
20 items on that one today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our information items. So speaking of facilities, Ms. Caroline Brown, do you have a presentation for us today? Fantastic. Come on up.
Board, Dr. Gawley, Ms. Gina, thanks for having me again this month to keep the facilities conversation going. We have a presentation tonight. It won't take too long. I'm going to repeat a little bit of of the board workshop so that it gets on the public record, just so everybody knows. And then we're going to go into the results of the transportation survey. And Laura Castro, I think it's on, I just don't have it close. And then Laura will join me for the rest of the transportation presentation. So we have the board study session summary. Our friends from OBR, Lionakis Company, came and presented the sequence of events as it takes us to the design process. We met every week all summer long, so things have been moving and shaking. And we will be meeting tomorrow. I think Dr. Ghali's meeting with food service people tomorrow, and then we'll be meeting again on Wednesday with the team to respond to some of the input that we received at the board study session. The timeline is tracking. We talked a little bit about that already. We are going to be asking for an RFQ for Geotech and CEQA, and we'll be moving those quickly through because we do need to keep this timeline underway. And then this was the site plan that we talked about at the board study session, just to let everybody in the public know that we've got 4 regular classrooms, a restroom, science, a faculty space, and a stream or other specialty flex room proposed to the right. We're considering a shade over in the over by building 5 where the purple box is, and then where the current after school care relocatables are, they would be removed and transformed into basketball courts. And then the other blue box by the admin building is the food service that we're considering updating. So we're going to move into the transportation and community survey results. We put out the survey in May and June of last year, got responses all the way up through July. We wanted to understand the transportation needs and the willingness of our student body to participate in the program. So we discovered from our questions that we got a chance to see the travel patterns, the current challenges, and the community interest and willingness to participate. Here is the responses. We had 281 records, meaning that's 281 families. 40 were unfinished, 62 were duplicates, but the entire number of records of students representative was 442. So we have 69 respondents, so 34% said positive support, and then we had 60% neutral, informational, no opinion, or 6% negative. You can see the number there of the N. We had the 45 mentioned number 1 rankings was affordability and cost. Then we had additional routes and neighborhood stops, comments around that. They needed additional. It would reduce traffic in the area, help working families, and help the middle school, high school routes. 17 respondents said the community commented on the community growth, and then 11 on safety. So the likelihood of people participating, you can see the small number at the top is unlikely to participate, whereas it kind of grows from might use, probably use, to definitely use for quite some number of participants. So I think we had a good response. So school enrollment and number of responses, I just wanted to give people an idea of the percentage of respondents received. So the blue line is the attendance or the enrollment of the school at the end of 25-26, and then the orange bar is the percent of, or the number of student or participants that, or respondents that participated in the survey. So we had about a 20% participation coverage there. And then the location of where people wanted stops. It's high interest in Doolin and Lake, which is the Lake Rancho Viejo area. And then next to that is Horse Creek Ranch. And then the Bonsall West group was a high respondents. That other actually contains people who wrote in Lake Rancho Viejo or other items that we had on there to check, but they wrote them in duplicatively. And then for the respondents by community, so Lake Rancho Viejo, high participation, as well as Oceanside and Arrowwood, and the Citro Palomar College area. And then the narrative responses summarized down. Affordability was highly commented on. Reducing traffic congestion, needing more routes. All of those were the highest responded on out of all of the comments once they were disaggregated. And then I'm going to skip this slide and come right back to it. So this is the survey results indicated by the high level of participation, expected participation. So if you look at the Bonsall L to and from Lake Rancho Viejo, there were a total of 126 respondents, and the likely to participate is 116. And we broke them out by grade level so that we could determine how many seats we would need by grade level on each bus, because the buses come in different sizes. And then SMS to and from Lake Rancho Viejo, 39 respondents, 36 likely to participate. And then for the high school, 12 respondents, 11 to participate. Yes, sir. I think it would be 2, because I think they're between 65 and 70 seats per, depending on the size of the child. Okay. So then what we did was we took a look at what a route might be, and you can see Lake Rancho Viejo in the upper right corner, and then down in the lower left is Bonsall Elementary. And based on the route we would take would be Lake Rancho Viejo, Doolin Road area to BES at 6.8 miles, takes about 14 minutes. And then the Lake Rancho Viejo, Doolin Road to the high school would be about 4 miles, about 9 minutes. So it's Lake Rancho Viejo south, and then it's along 76 to get over to Bonsall L. And then we'll run into what we're anticipating as far as the budget and what we're planning to go forward. So I'll bring up Ms. Castro. Oh, she's right behind me.
Yeah, hi everyone. So this table will give us some information about estimated cost if the board decides or has appetite to add an additional route. It all depends, like the number of students, like the Mr. Ortega was mentioning. If the need is for more than what one bus hold, then we're talking about 2 different routes, so 2 different buses. We're going to focus right now on if we purchase a bus, the cost will be $233,000 if the bus is a new bus. We recently got a quote, and that's the cost out the door, including taxes. The capacity for this bus is right there. It's between 72 and 84. They always project more than the actual capacity, because normally you see less depending on how big the kids are or the grade level. But that's the projection that they have. If we purchase a used bus, and the estimated amount is $127,000. Unfortunately, there's no warranty in a lot of those buses, and then the district will have a big risk and get a lemon bus or something.
Is it possible to lease one of these buses?
Yes.
And how much roughly would that be?
I didn't put it right there, and I don't have it on top of my head. I do have that information on one of my emails, and I can share with you in the next opportunity that I have. We can definitely mail you guys that information. We definitely can rent it or lease with the option to buy. They have that too. I do remember that it was a little bit expensive when I was looking at it, but I'll share the numbers once I have the opportunity, as soon as I get back to find that information on my documents. This is just the investment expense, or the cost of it, without taking into consideration fuel or ongoing costs like fuel, repairs and maintenance repairs or inspections that need to be done. And then in addition, we'll have to hire a driver. This is just for one route, right? This potentially, based on the current salaries that we have an average for the bus drivers that we have in the books, the approximate amount, an average will be $73,000 per year. Then if we contract the transportation services, this is based on the last invoice that the last contract that I was able to find with one of the providers that are out there. And this was the cost associated. Total $95,000 approximately, and this is estimated cost. I did increase like 10% on the cost per route per day because everything is going up due to inflation just to project a little bit more. They do charge because the per day is minimum 4 hours, but if you exceed the 4 hours, and then they charge you an extra $40 per hour. If the route exceeded for any reason, you have to wait or whatever is happening. So there's an additional cost to that. The total estimated, excuse me, is $95,000 for one route for contracted services. We are planning, we already talked the purchasing department to go through the bidding process to see how much will be the contracted services for regular education because it's different for special education. We already have a bid in place for special ed. We're doing the regular education to see how far we are with this projection based on the last contract that we have with one of these vendors. And also will help satisfy the current need that sometimes we have with the lack, when we lack of transportation or staffing.
That was fast. I remember one time before we talked about like getting all of our buses through First Student, having their drivers. I know it was very expensive to do that. Has that changed, or have you looked into that more as well?
To replace them, you said?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear the first part, I'm sorry.
To go through, like, say, First Student, to actually have their drivers with our buses, in addition to the drivers we already have now.
To go through the process for the training so they can get certification and to be a driver?
No, for us to lease, or not to lease, but to have like First Student provide the busing and for us.
Yes. So basically, this First Students is a company, right? You're talking about First Student. First, these numbers that for the contracted transportation services line is based on that contract that we have in the past with them, that they help us to serve a route in a period of time that we needed a service. So these numbers are based on that. But when we open to the bid, we'll go to the bid process, we're going to compare, and we have to go with the lowest bid. So it may be sole transportation, maybe hop skiing, drive, First Students. We do have the First Students, that was the vendor that was awarded with a special education bid. That's the one we have currently using for that. But that's the next step for us to see what is the actual cost, and then I'm going to check on the list, the numbers that they provide us to us.
Well, I have another question. Do we have any data on how many students in our district that are not attending our schools are not attending because of transportation?
I don't know about
because let's say, for example,
how we're going to know the reason unless it's an exit, and I think they're compiling data about that. I don't know, you want to speak about that?
So we have done quite a bit of working with families over the summer in terms of transfers. So we did hear from a lot of families. I am going to compile a report for the board for our next board study sessions, which will happen before closed session in September. So I'm excited to put that together for the board to review.
Well,
so
and I'm not, I guess I'm not just talking about, transfers and things, but there's a lot of homeschoolers. There's a lot of kids that live in our district that for whatever reason don't go. And we do have a very large geographic, footprint for our schools. I'm just curious how many of those are not attending because we don't have transportation services, where if we did have transportation services, the influx of new students probably would cover that cost. So I'm just kind of curious about that, if we have any data whatsoever about, that type of thing.
So what I'm going to try to compile is it's really an exit interview from the district is what it's come down to. So I'll give you the information that I have, but we really don't know that. I do know geography does present quite a few barriers for families when they can point to schools outside the district that are closer in proximity to where they're at. It does seem to be quite a challenge. I really do believe that transportation and increasing routes, and it was really important to collect the data through the survey, will really help us, especially when we have surrounding districts that may even be bringing their own transportation into our district. I think that in order to be competitive on that front, that transportation is something that the board will determine, of course, but just from my opinion, is something to be carefully considered for us to do. We do have limited routes, and it has been clearly stated to me, this is the biggest concern with a lot of sincerity from families. I can't do it because you don't have transportation.
Can I add a request? You had mentioned that there are routes from our neighboring districts. Can we find out if there's any way of finding out how many are picked up at Lake Rancho Viejo that attend? I'm not sure if it's just the high school or also the elementary schools, but if there's any way to get the numbers of students that are being transported directly from the district, it would be good to know that information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I remember looking at the numbers for the middle school and elementary, and I know we run a route from the middle school and high school, from middle school to Paula. With the amount of seats we have on that existing route, would that be able to accommodate, at least for the middle school and high school, Lake Rancho Viejo? Because those were only like 10 students for those two sites.
You're absolutely correct. We were exploring that possibility because we do have, I have the numbers from last year, and I think there were like 17 spaces available on one of the routes, and the other one was like 20-something, 29 or so. So because we have two routes, from Pala to the Bonsall High School and Pala to Sullivan Middle School. So there's spaces available right there, and we're talking about that possibility also to add a stop in that place and fill those spaces. So that's part of the exploration that we're doing to accommodate.
We haven't
to serve
done
more
that
students.
before? That's a very good observation, Aaron. We haven't done that before. We haven't realized that we have vacant spaces on Paula and that we could stop by Rancho Viejo, which is right on the way, or Lake Rancho Viejo, and right on the way and pick them up.
Actually, I believe in the past, both buses used to be full coming from Paula. They're not full anymore.
I see.
And also one of the things that the transportation director shared with us that was a concern is the ages. Like if you want to transport middle schoolers or high schoolers with elementary schools, so it's something also to take into consideration that when we look at that, we need to take that in, have that in mind, how that's going to play when we fill those spaces. So the other point is just, I think, and Gaddis already mentioned, Mr. Gaddis already mentioned it, that the potential new students that we transport can bring some revenue to it. We don't know what will be the eligibility for free cost, but a percentage of that potentially we can contribute with a cost that is we're gonna incur in adding a new route.
And I would just add that when we're looking at the options here, Aaron, that is something that we had discussed because it would be dependent upon whether or not we have our own bus, because if we do secure a bus, then we have to look at the timing of when all of the schools start. We'd be able to run, if it's our own bus, we could run a route from Lake Rancho Viejo, Doolin Road, that area, to Bonsall Elementary. That same bus could then go back and pick up students and take them to the high school, but they can't take them to the middle school because the middle school and the elementary start at the same time. So we were looking at, if we had our own bus, then we could probably run both of those routes. If we're contracting services, that's a little different, and it would be a lot more to run both of those. But then maybe that's where there's a possibility to look at if we could fill any empty seats by increasing by a stop or two along the way. To the trustee Ortega's point, we maybe didn't have room in the past, but if we do have any room, it would be nice to explore whether or not we could fill every seat to try to accommodate as many families as possible.
When are we looking to potentially add a route if we're doing this? Is it this year? Is it months?
So I believe it's going to be up in your direction, but we definitely are exploring that possibility. That's why we're bringing the numbers to your attention, and what option your inclination. We were going to get, for the bidding process, definitely, independently, we're going to add the route or not, because we still sometimes need additional services when things happen.
And by the time we'd be able to secure something, we had talked about if the board's direction is to move forward, seeing if there's a potential for, I think we said possibly second semester, we'd want a clean start, but it depends on the bidding process, what's available, and the direction of the board.
Got it. Thank you.
And then also, yes, for the budget purposes, this is an additional expense to our general fund, because we do receive a part of the LCFS for transportation, but it's not covering 100% like everything else, so as you are aware. But taking that in consideration, if this is a priority for the district, we need to have in mind that maybe we need to do adjustments or reductions somewhere else so we can balance it out.
Thank you.
I have a
Oh,
question.
one more question.
I have a question. So would these families pay a fee as well to use the bus?
That's the intention, but if they qualify, if they're eligible for free, they're going to be free, zero cost, or a reduced fee.
So the same fee that the
Yes.
Bonsall bus? Okay.
That's
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, it has to be equitable across the board.
Yeah, okay.
Are there any grants available for getting buses or anything like that?
Oh, yes, we did apply for some grants for 2 buses, but the thing the way that this work is a replacement. You're not adding to your fleet. You're replacing with an electrical bus a diesel bus, and that's how this works. It's not like you just adding it, unfortunately. We did apply for that because eventually we're going to have to move to that direction. So we applied for 2 electrical buses. We had the inspection already happen on July, last month. We were in the steps to move forward with that. And we'll keep you posted as soon as we have more information. Well, because it's a replacement, they're gonna take the other ones. They're gonna replace the bus. So that's what it is. So the bus that you were, yes, you cannot do that, unfortunately. Yes, so, yeah. It's sad, because when we're talking, Dr. Gully was also saying, what? We're gonna have 2 more. No, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately, for the majority of the grants that are out there. But we're still looking to see what is available for us, or what other grants available.
Can we
to help us.
buy beater buses and then trade those in for the electric buses?
What? Can you buy used? Yeah, right?
Yeah, I think I saw a place off the 15. They have like acres and acres of old buses. We can just go buy them all.
That's one you're going to trade in. That's a great idea.
You know what? Yeah, it's very interesting. Yes. I see potential right there.
It's possible.
It is possible. It's just a little bit risky if you don't get it. You just have this expense, sitting there. But what if you get it, right?
But there's no programs available for like helping low-income families or things like that that can help a district to help people who can't afford transportation. There's no program like that.
Not that I'm aware. And I'm constantly checking, constantly looking. We are in the server list also for looking for that information, and everything that is available, we check it, but there's nothing at this time that I'm aware.
One more question. How long would it take to obtain the bus? because we're shopping for a van right now for mobile wellness, and it's gonna take like at least 6 months to get the van.
It does take a lot of time.
Okay.
Yes, but I don't want to give you a wrong date, but
Yeah.
it does take months. Yes.
Like 6 months, probably.
Probably.
Okay. Okay.
We might have to start off with leasing the bus, and it might be a little expensive, but then we can see that it works before. Or contracting.
Or contracting, or we would one lease and a contracted one and see, how things go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for the final slide is about community engagement, but Dr. Ghali already sort of went over these meetings that are coming up, so this is just a snapshot of the same thing. And then I wanted to let you know what's coming up and looking ahead in September, because I neglected to get to the last slide when we were in the board study session. And so looking ahead for September board study session, Alan already alluded to the retention and enrollment patterns, as well as interdistrict transfer report. And then OBR, Lauren and Maria will be back to share the Bonsall High School and Sullivan Middle School facilities condition assessment. We'll revisit the facilities master plan, and then we'll have a look at some of the campus master plans. So that'll be a really full hour. And then coming up for the open session, I already mentioned Geotech and CEQA, but we're also going to have to procure a modular building manufacturer as we go forward. So these are all going to be very timely decisions to be made as we ramp up to our opening of potential August of 2027. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to our action items for the evening. First action item is 9.1. This is the amendment to the professional service agreement with OBR Architecture, a Lionakis company for Bonsall Elementary School 6th grade relocation.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. This brings us to action item 9.2. This is an amendment, again, with professional service agreement with OBR Architecture for the feasibility study for the Bonsall Elementary School Child Nutrition Food Service Facility.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Bringing us to the amendment to the independent contractor agreement with OBR Architecture for the facility assessment and campus master plan services for Sullivan Middle School and Bonsall High School.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.4. This is the Public Works contract with Anchor Construction Specialties for the installation of partitions in the boys' restrooms at Bonsall Elementary School.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.5. This is the consolidated application for funding for titles 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.6. This is the third amendment of the ESSA Memorandum of Agreement between the Health and Human Services Agency, San Diego County Superintendent of Schools, and Bonsall Unified School District for transportation of students in foster care.
I have a question on this one. I noticed there's no financial impact put on there. It just says unknown at this time. It does say the rates that everyone's going to be receiving, but there's no total amount. Again, this goes back to something I brought up in the past about this board writing out blank checks as far as, are we going to get an update if they go over a certain number, or is this just they stop at $10 million or what?
Yes.
This is a renewal. It's an ongoing contract. It's not only for our district, it's for an entire county. It's kind of type of consortium to help each other when a foster student is in need. We haven't had, in the past years, we're being in the contract, we haven't had to serve any, so there's no any expense that I can compare to estimated for this particular one. That's why it's hard to do determination if you want me to add an amount, a limit amount, we can definitely do that. This is the only one that I can see that situation that we don't have anything.
This is a very unusual one that you don't have it. There's other items on the rest of the agenda too that don't have total amounts on as well, and I'll bring those up as they come up. But, and I guess when I was reading through this, I understood why. I'm sorry. He's going to throw a shoe at me right now. Yeah, I read through the report, and I understand why, you know, there was nothing to gauge it with, but it is something that I think, you know, if we're going to be frugal with our funds, we have to know what we're going to be buying and how much it's going to cost. And so this blank check attitude is just, you know, it's not very good. People will ask me, how much did you guys spend on that? I don't know. They wouldn't tell me. You know, it's basically what I'm going to say. And that doesn't sound very good for me or my constituents that voted for me. So I was wondering if maybe in a couple of months we could get an estimate. Maybe at that point you might have something. Or do you think, because this is for whenever you might use it, right?
It's just for foster kids that are in the foster kids that are under our jurisdiction. And then we work in coordination with other districts to make sure that they have the transportation services that they need. If they are under that list and they were notified, it's a coordination of efforts. Not everything is going to fall on the district. It's the same way that we serve the homeless. We do also have a program with that, a contract with the county as well and the rest of the districts. And when we're in that situation, depending where the student is located, because sometimes they reside in the area, sometimes they move because they're in hotel, and then we have to coordinate with them. And not all the cost is falling in one side of the district. It's more than one district that's picking up the cost to serve the student.
Yeah, and I'm sure you will do everything necessary to make the appropriate adjustments to everything. I just would like to know, like, down the road, how much was spent, and maybe at that point you might know something about what might be spent by the end of the year.
We may not spend anything this year as well, but I think what I'm thinking that will be good and to meet that requirement, maybe we put a limit on this, not to exceed a certain amount. That's the way that you want to be displayed right there. We can definitely put that. If for any reason we serve and we surpass, we bring it again.
Well, what is the process that occurs with that? I mean, they alert us that we're going to be paying for that? How does it work?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, we're contracting for transportation of students in foster care, right? In case we need it.
Mm-hmm.
So are we alerted that, okay, are they just start doing it? How do we know when we're starting to be charged?
We are alerted. It's not just all of the sudden. Go ahead, Dr. Coley.
Sure, I can add, because I think it was several years ago, the last time I saw us have to utilize the agreement. But if we have a student who is placed into foster care, then what happens is we're notified that, let's say the foster home is not within our district now. We want to make sure that the student can still attend school in the same place. So what happens is the other district will say, we have a student who now lives over in our area in a foster home, but they need to be transported to your district for continuity of their educational program. So we then agree to partner with that other district to share a cost per this agreement so that we can transport the student to school. We haven't had to do it for a while because we haven't had students that have been placed in foster homes outside of our district. But maybe what we could do, since we don't have anything for a couple of years, it's like an agreement that we're obligated to have in place. Maybe what we could do is we can agree that if we are entering into an agreement, we can bring that back to the board so that you have that knowledge and you can say, oh, I see now how this agreement and what the impact would be. Not that we would be able to deny it because we have to, and it's the right thing to do, but it would give you that information. It's just we don't have anything right now because we haven't had to do it for a while.
Yes.
What if you just put 20 grand, and then if you get over 20 grand, then you come?
That was my suggestion, and we can definitely do that. And then if you are okay with that, we can move forward with it with that on the notes that we need to put the limits?
From a reporting perspective, it may be appropriate to consider having things like this that are open-ended, that we might even be able to just put a cap on, but they're not necessarily budgeted per se, to be brought back in and at least be, because we have to approve them, that they're brought into just either under information items or the consent agenda, just, showing an enactment of the contract that's already been approved for, in a specific, student or other situation, that at least then there's that awareness, to Trustee Ortega's point, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. My question will be, in addition to that, the board is still asking us to put a limit right now for this particular item?
No, I would suggest that we approve this program, and if it ever gets used, then can you please tell us, that it's being used, and so we know. Does that work with everybody?
Yeah, when activity happens, and we'll inform the
So
board.
when we're alerted that we need to enact the foster care transportation, that we then know, okay, we are going to be providing this service to a student that's now residing in what boundary, and it's going to cost us X amount of dollars. That'd be great.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll do that. Thank you.
So did we have a motion in a second?
Motion to approve.
Okay, so Eric has a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.7. This is the master contracts between Bonsall Unified School District and the San Diego Center for Children for the, now, the header says 25-26. It's 26-27, correct? Or is this a ratification for last year?
So it's for 1 month that was passed in June to July when the student was there. So it is still the 25-26 school year, but they were there and moved out of it in that 1 month.
So it's a retroactive approval?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a ratification then?
That I can't answer. I
So it's
don't-
already been paid? So
Yes.
it's not an approval of the contract, it's a ratification of it?
It's a ratification. I'm learning the contracts. I'll just stay here because
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. This brings us to action item 9.8. This is the master contracts between Bonsall Unified School District and New Direction Solutions LLC, doing business as ProCare Therapy, Stepping Stones, Community School of San Diego, High School, and Winston School for the 2026-27 school year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.9. This is the Nixie SELPA Independent Educational Evaluation, i.e. Qualified Examiner List, not to exceed rate schedule, and annual not to exceed spending authorization for 2026-27.
This is a similar situation with the financial, and I'm willing to say that I would motion to approve it if we can have an understanding of when it's being used, that we know, that we get informed that it's being used.
Mr. Trustee Ortega was asking, similar to the transportation for Foster, that when these are approved during the school year, that they're brought to the board for just our edification and understanding and knowledge.
each and every one of them.
So what I think I'm hearing him say.
Better just to put a limit, and then when you get over the limit,
Yeah.
if he wants to know personally about certain
Because
ones.
the rate limits are listed, and if anything is above that rate limit, then we would have to come to the board to get it approved. And the vendors are listed, and if anybody wants a vendor that's not on that list, we'd have to come to the board to get it approved. But the quickness and the speed for which we have to respond to these doesn't allow us to wait, or wouldn't be conducive to bringing each item to the board.
No, that's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm
Okay.
suggesting is that we as a board approve the program, and then as this program is being used, it's already been approved to be used, but as it's being used, then we get informed as to the amounts that are being used, like say, I
Okay,
don't know,
so
maybe
like-
quarterly or something.
So that I understand. So for example, I was going to put a not to exceed amount of 60,000 for the year. because last year we spent about that much on that program. Would that be a better way of doing that?
If that works for you, then that would work for me as well.
I just tallied what we used last year. We may use more, we may use less, but if we use more, then I would come back and ask for an increase, and if not, then that's where we'd be.
Trustee Ortega, are you more concerned about the details of spending from an allocation perspective, as we go through the year? Or are you more concerned about creating a cap just so that we know that the program isn't going to exceed a certain amount for the year?
So, yeah, exactly that, because like I said, somebody comes up to me and says, hey, how much did you guys spend on this program? I say, I don't know. They didn't tell me. We know what the rates are, but they didn't say that there was going to be a limit to what they're going to do. So, I mean, unrealistically, it could be like $10, it could be $10 million, but we approved it. So they're allowed to go to $10 million, because we don't have a limit on it.
In order to meet what Director Adams was saying about the timeline, I wonder if, similar to what you were saying to Ms. Castro, if we could maybe mid-year and end of year give the board a report of, we just want to let you know this is where we are so far with the IEE, so that you're aware. You'd be able to then answer those questions of what is the impact totally, since I think what I hear her saying is that sometimes the timeline is such that we want to go ahead and get those evaluations done because per IEP we have to. But if we could be really transparent with the board and make sure we come back to you with this is where we are so far at whatever interval we agree on, maybe that would give you the information.
Like a year-to-date spending?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think what Eric's concerned about, it's like taking a snowball and rolling it down a hill.
Yeah.
He wants to put a limit on how big that snowball is, and then you'd have to come back if it gets that big and just let us know.
Right.
Because he doesn't want it to be, at the end, just be some giant snowball that they come and tell him, because that's kind of hard to say, to justify.
And I'm sure you would be reasonable and know that, something's getting out of hand and you'd probably come to us, but it's just, say something happens and someone else takes your place, they can just go, and we wouldn't know.
I guess the difference on this one, if I could, is just that we don't have a choice. Like, I don't have a choice on if a parent requests an IEE, I have to grant it or I have to take them to court. And that's never been lucrative to do that. So what I'm saying is, like, maybe that was, it can't get out of hand in a way because I can't stop them. I mean, we'll develop ways to make them understand and agree with our assessments, but it's just something I have to approve. Once they ask for an IEE, that's the way that works.
And that's understandable.
Yeah, so.
It's just that, when we pay money to something, we have to take money from something else. And if something gets so large, even though we may be obligated to pay it, we'll realize that we have to take something from something else.
Right, and I agree. I think that's why some kind of year-to-date, like, this is how much we spent so far. It's this much money over what we spent last year, and I'm looking into the root causes of why that's happening. That makes perfect sense to me. I'm just trying to help us all understand, like, the reason it's not put down so solidly and the reason Nixie negotiates this for us is because we don't necessarily have a choice. So Nixie's trying to say, okay, since we don't have a choice, these psychoed people can't go out there and charge $10,000 because we are agreeing we're not going to pay that. We'll only pay this rate amount. So I hear you, and I don't disagree, and I will do
Can I
whatever
ask a
it is
really
you ask.
stupid question?
Yes, sir.
So here's my stupid question. So is there any way at the end of the year when we get all of these things that we're mandated to pay, right? We have to pay these things. There is no program in the state that says, okay, we can file and say this is how much money we've spent on these programs that you make us pay. Is there any reimbursement or anything for that? Any programs or grants available for that?
There's not grants. There's a couple of programs, like I was just sending Laura something about, it's called Extraordinary Cost. And so, for example, that young lady that we had in a program outside of our state, and she was in a residential placement center, that's an extraordinary cost. So right now the cost cap on that is $101,000 for a particular placement. So if we have anybody that goes over that, we can apply to get some portion of that returned to us based on what the general pool is across the state. but there's not any other things. And that's where you see all the advocacy and people complaining, is that with IDEA, it's not completely funded. So IDEA tells us you have to do all these things, and the state nor the federal government completely funds it. So that's why we say go talk to our congressman. But yeah, unfortunately, and it's not a dumb question at all. It's something we all are scratching our heads. Like, you're telling me I have to do this, but you're not giving me any money to do it with. Thank you.
Thank you for answering those questions. Did we have a motion or a second yet on that one?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.10. This is the agreement renewal, number 3, with First Student, Inc. for special education transportation services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Castro, did you want to share anything specific about this? Appreciate your willingness to jump up. All right, now we are on action item 9.11. This is the MOU between BUSD and FUESD for bus and van maintenance for the 26-27 fiscal year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.12. This is amendment number 2 to the agreement for transportation services between San Marcos Unified School District and Bonsall Unified School District.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. This brings us to action item 9.13. This is the agreement with San Diego County Office of Education for a social worker intern.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Bringing us to action item 9.14. This is utilizing North County Educational Purchasing Consortium and NCEPC, bid number NS267 for child nutrition services paper products.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.15. This is the memorandum of understanding between Bonsall Unified School District and Fit Kids America.
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye. I thought this was great. I was waiting for Rachel because this is her stuff.
I'm trying to give people their chance.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.16. This is the independent contractor agreement between Bonsall Unified School District and Kai Turley for musical consulting services. This is
Motion
from
to
Line.
approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.17. This is the increase to the confidential employees and management salary schedule and the reduction in total number of days of work.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our second to last item, number 18. This is the management stipend for fulfilling Executive Director of Student Services position.
Motion to approve.
Second.
That was almost simultaneously.
got it.
Okay, Mr. Ortega. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our last action item for the evening. This is the agreement with Fagan, Friedman, and Fullfrost LLP to provide legal services for the 26-27 fiscal year.
This is another one with no max, but I'm relying on you and your good graces to do the right thing. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our public comment portion of our meeting. Ms. McInerney? Nobody here to speak to us yet. And that brings us then to our planning. And next month, we besides all of the opportunities for meeting with our coffee with our superintendent and other listening sessions, our regularly scheduled board meeting is the second Thursday of the month, which will be September 10th, preceded by a planning workshop. So this one still says closed session at 4:30 on the agenda. So that will actually change to 5 for closed session, but it will be preceded by a board workshop at 4 p.m. So
That's what day?
And that's September 10th, Thursday, September 10th. So starting at 4 p.m., just like today. And with that, we shall be adjourned at 8:27 p.m. Thank you all. Happy new school year.